There are more.
Yeah, there's another one. There's quite a diversity of holothurians actually here. There's a lot of sediment, so they're deposit feeders, which means they ingest all the sediment and scrape off all the phytodetrital fallout from the surface waters. So they're quite
phytodetrital fallout.
That's a good word, isn't it?
Great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you want to explain what phytodetrital fallout is?
Yeah, sure. So in the surface oceans where we have a lot of phytoplankton, obviously we don't get any phytoplankton down here because the sun does not penetrate beyond sort of 200, 300 meters. And so what happens is when it all dies, it starts to sink to the sea floor. So when we're in areas where there is no other source of any other food source or source of energy, such as hydrothermal vents, the animals down here rely on food matter and organic matter sinking from the surface. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing quite a lot of echinoderms. So I've mentioned we've seen holothurians. You might be able to see now quite a few brittle stars on the seafloor, like in the sediments. There's loads of them actually now. There's a really high abundance. So all of these are deposit feeders. So that means they'll process all the sediment. So they'll ingest all the sediment and also all of that sort of dead phytoplankton and organic matter that's settled on the seafloor. And that's what they'll have as their food source. Whereas the stalked crinoids, they might filter feed. They'll filter feed the particulate matter that's being kind of swept across via bottom currents down here.
Very cool. Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
I think I've seen videos of holothurians eating. They use their little feet, right, to kind of just like push the sediment into their orifice and have it processed.
Yeah, they have like modified mouth parts.
Yeah.
And you can see them actually like physically grab the sediment to a certain extent and put it in their mouths. And then also if they're swimming holothurians, so if they're part of the pelagothuria, which means swimming, they will actually have to drop their ballast at some point to make themselves lighter. So you see little trails on the seafloor where they've ingested all of that sediment they don't need, and then they can actually swim away, which is quite cool.
I also like the term modified mouth parts.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Phytodetrital.
I'll write that one down.
Phytodetrital fallout.
Fallout.
And that's what we see in the surface waters when we can see particulate matter now, that marine snow. So that's a combination of phytodetritus, so a combination of phytoplankton that's dead and other organic matter like fecal pellets and exoskeletons from like tiny zooplankton and that kind of material that sinks all the way down to the seafloor.
Does anyone know if anyone on the earlier watches was able to get a zoom on any of the sea cucumbers? Anyone at the ISC, do you guys know if that was a thing? Because if it's possible, I'd like to get a zoom in just on a sea cucumber, if we can find one in the shot that lines up well.
Great.
I'm sorry, Shannon, can you repeat that?
Said great.
Oh.
There's several.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Why don't we do this little guy right here? Is that one on the bottom of this rock?
There's that big black one right there.
Yeah.
Several. Right there. Wow.
Oh, good shot, Trevor.
All right, go ahead. At your leisure. Ah, try to get that thing out of the... There we go, yeah.
What? So you can see like the little cast off to the right as well. That would be a sea cucumber poop.
Wow.
Well, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, come back. There we go.
He's taking it easy.
And there's that different one up there.
That's great, guys. If you can get your heading back on and we'll continue on with the track.
On our way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another squat lobster at the bottom just swimming off as well.
Oh, look, we got a lumpus.
Ooh, what is that? I know I shouldn't get excited. I'm not getting excited. I'm actually excited about geology because there's a big lump of geology ahead of us.
One.
Sorry, that's
geology.
not a very technical term, Shannon. Big
One
lump of geology.
Lump is coming up.
It's a great one.
That's like my level of technical speak.
Talking about all of the squidgy bits, so.
Squidgy bits.
Squidgy bits. Squidgy bits and lumps of geology.
That might be my new favorite technical term.
Squidgy?
Squidgy bits.
This is one of those stock tunicates? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think it might be.
I mean, squidgy thing?
It's huge. I think it is, yeah.
Looks well positioned.
Sorry?
Looks well positioned.
Yeah.
It is,
On the
yeah.
overlook.
The overlook, yeah.
The overlook.
A really large glass sponge as well.
What are those?
Which bit? The big glass sponge at the bottom?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's a huge
amazing.
glass sponge.
It is.
Oh, sea star.
And a sea star. It's really cool that we just came straight from a load of sediment to this.
Yeah.
It just changes so quickly.
Yeah, it's a totally dynamic environment. It's funny to watch the watch before us. It was just so rapidly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Spend hours down here just looking at stuff one by one. It's one of the reasons I always love scuba diving over snorkeling. You have all this time.
You're not in a hurry to get back up to the surface and breathe.
Yeah.
So someone's,
see that, Ben. Yeah.
someone's asking if anyone has done a study on the effects of microplastics being filtered through deep sea sponges and corals.
That's a great question. I like that question a lot.
Me too,
That is a
yeah.
good question, and I can actually answer that. So I know of a couple of scientists in the UK that were actually looking at corals, and I actually participated in that expedition. And we were at I think we were at about 2,800 meters, and we were sampling corals, and one of the scientists was dissecting the coral and actually found a piece of microfiber plastic actually embedded in the coral itself, which led to another scientist looking inside the guts of some of the other creatures we sampled as well, in which they did find ingested microplastics. So yeah, microplastics are making it all the way into the middle of the deep ocean, and I think more and more researchers are now looking into that to see the effects of microplastics down in the deep.
Thank you.
It's actually a really difficult thing to study with the microplastics as well. So we also looked at sediment cores. And if you think of our push cores, they're actually made out of plastic themselves. And so they might actually have fragments all around the edge. And then all of the stuff that comes into contact with the processing, like if we're wearing fleeces and things like that, any microfibers can contaminate those samples. So when you are working with microplastics or you're looking into microplastic research, you have to make sure that you wear organic cotton materials and that you really clean your lab so that there's no chance of contamination on those
Oh, yeah,
those
that's
samples. So it's actually a really difficult one to. You have to be really mindful of that, of contamination issues, because microplastics is such a daily part of our lives, and especially when we work on ships as well. To be honest, a lot of our equipment is made of plastic. A lot of the lab equipment is made of plastic, and so if you are going to study these things, you really have to think about your protocol thoroughly before you start to analyze those sediments to ensure that you're not just introducing the plastics into your samples once they get to the surface.
Yeah, that sounds challenging. You're right. Everything is plastic. The containers we put them in, when we retrieve them, everything.
Absolutely.
That's pretty.
There's a big fly trap off to the right.
That is a big fly trap and enemy.
Yeah. Is that cool? Is that awesome?
I think it's cool. Is it zoomable?
That's the question.
I think we'll carry on. We've only got a few minutes left.
That's true. We
if
have
that's
6
all
minutes
right.
left. Yep. Ben, why don't we stop the ship? Argus will keep swinging for 6 minutes, so.
Thank you.
Lay back 100 meters. That's not so bad.
Over there.
Oh, that's a really nice color purple on that.
Oh
cucumber
yeah,
down there.
beautiful.
It's like Sam's nail polish.
I cannot confirm or deny. And now we're in the mud. Check this mud out. No mud enthusiasts here? Come on.
I did make a few mud pies back in my day.
Last week.
Last week.
15 minutes ago.
How high is this wall we're coming up to, Ben?
Should top out at 3055.
Oh wow, look at this.
Roger that.
So 30 meters.
Good way to end it.
So
All right, we'll be coming up. We'll
Yeah.
keep the same delta, or even up to 20, I guess.
Yeah. Hard up. That was a
Nice
lot of
spicy
tellus.
ending.
Yeah, I was gonna say end on a high, literally.
Okay, coming up.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh
cool
wow.
cliff.
Yeah, this is really awesome. Whoop.
Wow.
Hey,
Oh,
buddy.
no. Hey, guys.
Wow.
That's
Argus
pretty
is
incredible.
clear.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
Oh,
cool.
look at that.
This guy racing us.
What is that?
I don't know.
Definitely does not look sheer on the map.
It's pretty
Another
short. Yeah, step 2. Stage 2. Phase 2. This one's not as sheer,
Yeah.
more pillowy.
Here's more pillowy.
Really cool.
That's really, really cool.
I love this kind of terrain. It's so amazing.
I was saying earlier, it looks like Play-Doh that's just been like squeezed out of a bunch of tubes.
Yeah, totally. I was saying it's like an 8-year-old decorating a cake.
Yeah.
Just piling on the icing. You
Cross
know what
more
I
and
mean?
more.
Probably with Play-Doh.
I'm going to try to make those flowers like they do at the bakery.
Good sound effects. And all right, when I become a billionaire, I'm getting my own ROV, and I'm just gonna come down here and play. Look at everything. You're all invited.
Yes.
Thanks, Jess.
Can I fly it?
Yes,
Yes.
but you have to teach me how to fly it too.
Roger. Absolutely.
Dr. Marsh, someone wants to know about the orange cones. What experiments will be done? The little micro colonizers. I understand they'll be trying to grow those organisms, but will they be preparing those to take them back
Oh,
to?
stand by 1 second, Susan.
Sure.
Sorry, can I have an opportunistic zoom? Left-hand side, that star thing that's just coming off the bottom.
That really clear one?
Yep. Sorry, Shannon. I hope you don't mind. I'm just really interested to see what
Hey,
that is.
it's 12:30, so this is our time to shine. The geotransect is complete. We're looking for this one here.
Yeah, that guy just in the middle, just center. Yeah, by your lasers.
All right, let me bump that up.
I
and then
think we
can
saw a
zoom
few of
past
them
that.
earlier. I think they were
Go ahead.
referred to as the deep sea tarantulas,
Yep.
but I think they're solitary octocorals, which is really interesting. Oh, I have no idea actually. Maybe it's an enemy. I actually have no idea what that is.
I love that answer.
It's actually very hard to get into focus because it's so clear.
Yeah, it's translucent. That's amazing.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
All right, come wide.
That's a black coral behind it. Bathy bathies.
Bathy, bathy.
Bathy pathies. Oh, there's another black coral. Oh, look. All the good black corals have just turned up.
Okay, why don't we start getting ready for recovery? There's still a little bit of layback, but the ship has stopped, so that'll sort itself out.
Hi, Shannon. I don't know
could
if you can hear
you-
us, but that is it for us, I think. We're just coming to
start
the end
coming
of our
around on
transect
heading?
now.
To what degree?
Eventually, we wanna
Awesome. Thank
match
you
the
guys
ship's
so
heading
much.
with
It's
yours.
been a really long day, and we're really, really thankful for you guys sticking it out with us.
Not your heading?
No, it's awesome. I'm glad you guys are still there and you managed to see it right through to the end. That's great news.
See you in 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go ahead whenever.
To what heading?
You want to match the ship's heading eventually.
So what heading is the ship at?
While we're doing that, we can have opportunistic zooms, I guess.
Yay!
You want to zoom on this tunicate,
Do I
which
ever?
I think it is.
Say when.
Go ahead, Jess, at your leisure. I'm still going to get closer to it and mess with your focus, though.
Trevor, what heading should I aim for?
The
Ship's heading is 315-ish,
315.
so you can match that, and making sure you go the way that takes out your wraps.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Look at these guys.
Incredible.
How's that working on your wraps there?
Yeah, wrong way.
It's very cool.
I love these things. Woohoo!
Where did you see the ship setting?
Just looking at ROV Nav G, your left screen there.
Polychaete swimming as well.
I didn't get a number from that. I just got a general orientation. It's probably not 315, but it's close to that, and that's close enough for us.
Okay.
You can grab the actual heading from the DP.
It is, yeah,
330.
336. Cool.
330.
330, roger.
Whatever.
Someone was saying that's called a beer barrel anemone. Have you heard of that?
What was that, Susan? Sorry, I just missed that.
The one that we just saw, someone said it's called a beer barrel anemone.
Barrel anemone.
I think it was a tuna.
Oh, thank you for that, whoever's watching on Nautilus Live. Because, yeah, I wasn't too sure what that was. I'll have a look.
Okay, I'm going to start coming up now. Get to a 0 delta, and then you can start coming up, Cassidy, at whatever speed we can make.
Bye, cool things.
So let me catch up before we start going too fast here.
Okay.
I'll get to 0 delta and stretch out, and then we'll come up. Buy cool things.
Yeah, buy cool things.
Hello, blue. My sister would love this. Blue's her favorite color.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me down in the data lab, K2? Just want to know when I can secure the Norbit. Now? He doesn't need to save it or shut it down or anything? Okay. Norbit secure.
Alright, I'm gonna start heading up.
Okay. I'm coming up at 12 right now, but I'll speed up once we get going a little bit. It'll be a constant adjustment thing. You can switch me over to USBL at your leisure. All right, coming up at 14 now. Yeah, 15.
Yeah. There's a lag.
7, even if, yeah, where you're at now, that looks great.
17. Alright, I'm going up at 17.
Say 17?
17.
All right, great. Let's see if I can keep up. Too bad. Wish I could. Cool, 190 minutes to surface is my current ETA, ETS. subject to change.
Were 4 of the orange cones picked up, or were all of them picked up?
I believe there's still 2
Okay.
on the seafloor to be collected.
Okay. Someone was asking about the orange cones.
Susan, I'm going to encourage you, if any nice bad ocean jokes come through Nautilus Live, please feel free to share them.
Okay, definitely.
I'm such a fan of bad jokes.
All right. Well, it could be called, somebody wrote about beer barrel. We have a beer barrel, I think, cactus.
Really?
And, so I don't know if they're playing or not. Who knows? Their imagination at this time of night plays
I believe
tricks on
that.
you.
Yeah.
Plays tricks on you.
Usually the corny jokes come in pretty clear. But that's cool that there's a beer barrel cactus. They've got the ocean and the land equivalent. It's a complete circle.
Well, we have the lilies, right?
Lilies?
What, the sea lilies that are, were they sponges?
Oh,
I'm
the
not sure.
stalked, yeah, the stalked crinoids,
Yeah,
sea lilies.
Sea lilies. And so we have lilies on land, sea lilies.
I've never
Sea
heard of sea
spiders.
lilies.
Oh, we had those, when, was that earlier today? Sea lilies?
Yeah, the ones that you were saying look like little palm trees, or
Mhm.
Cassidy was saying they look like palm trees. So yeah, they were the stalked crinoids, the echinoderms, the ones that relate to the sea stars.
I didn't realize that's what one of their common names. That's cool.
We have a land bias. Seahorse.
Yeah, people don't know what it is. They just put
Star.
the land name and then sea in front of it.
You don't call it a land horse.
Well, you'd have to be like land whale or something. You need to reverse it all.
Land shark.
Land
You
shark.
kids, you're too young. You kids would know what a land shark.
I actually do know land shark, yes.
They would knock on the door, land shark.
One of the finest comedic skits ever written.
Here is one. Who is an IGT's favorite president?
I don't know. Who?
ISO Barack Obama.
I actually love that. That's awesome.
So if you're interested in the NASA subsea expedition, I encourage you to go to nautiluslive.org to the expedition page, and there's a summary of Gorda Ridge and the expedition. I don't know when the results of this will all be placed on YouTube. Does anyone here know when the completed dive is usually placed on YouTube? How many months it takes?
So it's all live streamed on YouTube, is that correct?
Yeah, I think, not positive, but like Ben said, it's live streamed to YouTube and then stays there. Or it might be a week lag time before the final product is permanently up. And highlights, ideally try to get them out as soon as possible, but it depends on how busy the team is and what we're doing at the time.
I think when they just stop live streaming, it just automatically posts to YouTube. But currently, because it's live streaming, you can see the previous dives that we've done, and I don't think they erase. So,
Well, I think the YouTube thing is a little newer than just the live streamed Nautilus Live, but yeah, if you guys go to our social media pages, you can see a quick highlight reel from the first dive. And I'm currently working on trying to get out some highlights with the team from the more recent dives. But there is a lot of dive footage to go through to know when the cool stuff was. That's why we have people like Aubrey who help track down and data log the really cool parts.
Also, for people who are watching, if you could please get the word out to your friends and teachers, community, museums about the live interactions that are available at nautiluslive.org. Those are available for groups, and you can schedule an interaction and ask to speak to the Science Communication Fellow will host, and then you can ask to speak to like an ROV pilot, navigator, excuse me, microbiologist, anyone basically. And we have several interns who also volunteer to share their background information. And it's a great opportunity for you to introduce your community and students, particularly young students, to careers within this area, not just marine science, but geology, microbiology, because we have a team of scientists aboard, and how people collaborate to get to achieve the goal, the objective that they've developed. So, and also you can share with your teachers, anyone you may know, that oet.org/STEM has wonderful lessons available that are aligned to NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, and they're really well done. So I suggest getting the word out. It's basically a treasure chest full of lessons, from K through 12. Okay, Jessica. Why shouldn't you lend a geologist money?
I don't know. Why shouldn't you lend a geologist money?
Because they consider 1,000,000 years ago to be recent.
Huh? Oh,
You won't be
wait.
getting your money. Because they consider 1,000,000 years ago to be recent. Get it? You know, like...
I don't get it. I think that's what makes it even funnier. I don't get it. Hold on. Because they consider it 1,000,000 years ago to be, recent.
You're not going to see your money in this lifetime.
Gotcha.
Some of these geologist jokes.
I am a big fan of science jokes too when it's, I mean, my focus is the biology and animal jokes, but I think it makes it even funnier because it just identifies how much of a nerd someone is, and I fully support nerd culture, and it's great.
Are we taking water samples as we ascend?
We will be firing, so we have 6 Niskins on the vehicle, and we're going to fire 3 of them when we get to 2,100 meters, or just shallower than that, in fact.
Okay.
And then we are taking the final 3 just at the surface, just at 150 meters.
Thank you. This area has a lot of marine snow. I was really surprised to see sea cucumbers in those depths. But then this is not my area of expertise. Dr. Marsh, I usually see them in like the intertidal zone in California when I'm walking along the tide pools, along with aplysia. Would you find both of those in the depths, or just pretty much sea cucumbers?
Sorry, Susan, I'm actually just looking at a photo at the moment about this that we were looking at earlier,
Sure,
so
sure.
that big clear thing. So I'm just going to have a quick look, and then I'll get back to you. So that animal that we had in the sediment earlier that we did our final quick super zoom on before we started to ascend, Aubrey and I are just looking at the images because I got a bit freaked out when we did our zoom and I wasn't too sure. I doubted myself momentarily that it was a solitary octocoral. But now looking at it again, I'm pretty convinced it is a solitary octocoral, which is really, really cool.
That's what Greg thought.
Yeah, that's what Greg thought.
Nailed it.
He did nail it. No, the thing that threw me when we actually zoomed on it was that I couldn't see the pinnate structures off of each tentacle,
Right.
or I wasn't awake enough to really register as quickly as I needed to. And now looking at it, yeah, I'm pretty convinced that's what that is, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So is it uncommon to see a solitary octocoral? Are they usually in groups?
It's like a big colonial organism. So if you think of the corals we were seeing on the sea floor, so do you remember seeing those big stalks?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then you saw what we call lots of polyps. And so if we zoomed in on each of those polyps, it would have had 8 tentacles, hence the name octo. And so, yeah, they're colonial organisms. So it's very unusual to see, or in the deep sea anyway, we're finding more and more of them the more we explore, but like a solitary polyp just being one solitary animal on its own. So it's really cool.
The one
It's
that
really
was
interesting.
translucent?
Yeah, the
that
one that was
mhm.
translucent. Yeah, right towards the end. Very, very cool. Very cool. I think we'll be sending that off to some folks who work with NOAA to see if they can get an idea on that and add that to one of the species guides for the Pacific, because I think that was really, really unusual.
So I was curious about the sea cucumber, and that I usually see those in intertidal zones. I was surprised that it would be at that depth. Is that usually par for the course that you find them all over the seas?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, holothurians and sea cucumbers in the deep sea are actually one of the more prolific phyla that we see. As I say, they're big deposit feeders, so you get them in areas where there's a lot of sediment and a lot of that marine snow that falls to the seafloor, or the phytodetrital fallout as well. So yeah, they're quite a common component of quite a lot of deep sea regions, right up to abyssal depths as well. So when we get to sort of 4,000–6,000 meters, we will still be seeing the sea cucumbers.
And what about aplysia? Like sea hares?
Yeah, I think sea has a mollusks, so I'm not entirely sure. That's not something I'm too familiar with, I'm afraid.
Okay, I just was curious. Okay, thank you. Someone was asking if we turned off the lights, would we see bioluminescence?
Ben or Lee, you might be able to correct me, but I think that's a function of the camera. We would need a more low light camera ability, which these really are not, to be able to pick up that bioluminescence.
Yeah, I think that's right. If you have every camera, a digital camera like this, is calibrated to a certain sensitivity, how saturated the cell can be to produce a response. And so they have these low light, super ISO, high ISO, which is the calibration of that sensitivity. And I also don't know if the wavelength of the bioluminescence is somehow mismatched in any way or whatnot. But I know those low light cameras are useful for capturing bioluminescence.
Yeah, if you guys look at some previous dives, I know one of them was the vampire squid, which was caught using a low light camera. And if you think about your regular digital camera, like the one I use, it has an ISO that can go as high as 6400. But those low light cameras that are typically used for bioluminescence is, I think, somewhere in the range of like 4 million ISO. So it is way brighter and allows way more light in than these cameras do that are currently on the ROV. Those specialty cameras would have to be mounted. There is a professor at URI, his name is Dr. Brennan Phillips, and he's been working on that technology for a while. It is really fascinating stuff when you do get to see it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
According to someone here, they say the live stream's available present to present for 12 hours. Then on a separate channel, the full dives are posted a week or two later, starting this season. Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Thanks. Thank you, Nautilus Live audience.
Did you hear about the fight in the kitchen?
I did not. What happened?
A fish got battered.
Oh, no. That's a good one.
That's cute. So according to this, NOAA is on an expedition right now in the Atlantic with ROVs equipped with low-light cameras specifically studying bioluminescent creatures.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm. I believe they also have live streaming. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I had been on the RV, the RV Endeavor, the research vessel for the University of Rhode Island with Professor Phillips, and so we got to see him testing his bioluminescence camera, and you know, a lot of it looked like marine snow, but then you would just see this glowing object streak through, and kind of like squid. There are some creatures that will expel this fluid, but it's all bioluminescent fluid, so it looks really cool as they spin through the camera. If anyone's a scuba diver out there, which I'm sure there are, and we can all relate to a good night dive. If you haven't done a night dive, I highly encourage it because you can see the bioluminescence in a lot of places. I was up in Gloucester, Massachusetts, doing a night dive at Follies Cove. Check it out. And I felt like a mermaid, just swimming around and watching the bioluminescence trail behind me. Oh, it is so cool.
Earlier today,
Hey,
we did
Trevor.
mapping.
Trevor. Oh, sorry. That's okay. No, it's sorry, it's nothing urgent, Trevor. It was just that we're looking at the Niskin camera. We've got one little Niskin lid that's looking a bit.
You bet.
Yeah. What's
That's
going on
always,
there?
it's always like that.
Oh, is it?
Don't worry too much.
Oh, okay. We just noticed it. I think maybe it's because we've been really lucky and we haven't done that many ascents, so we haven't noticed it.
It completely depends on me lateraling. So here I'm going to lateral again, and it's going, and I'll stop lateraling, and it stops.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's right by one of the thrusters, is it, that one?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clearing that up. We were just
No
looking
problem.
at it being, what is going on with that Niskin bottle?
Nice. She's grabbing it. Uh-oh.
Trevor, do you think you'd be able to thread a needle using the manipulator arm?
Depends on the needle, I suppose. So, if you can get really close to the corner here, maybe like a squishy bit. Might need to slow down a little bit on that. I can't quite keep up. Not a very easily controlled joystick, eh? $16 sounds good. 16 or 17, yeah. So I was saying I'm not actually that great at it, but put your jaws close to the corner, and then try to move the whole arm around the jaws while not moving the end effector. Using both your cameras, trying to keep it as close as possible, and move the arm so you're like jaw vertical, while trying to stay as close to the corner as possible.
You're very welcome. Take as many as you want.
Get a little bubble down. I'm gonna mess you up a sec here.
Does anyone know if there are any Ocean Explorer games like this for kids to try to do things like this? Manipulate an arm?
Sorry.
Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't know if anyone else in the van has come across anything where there is some kind of remote control manipulator arm or...
I could expect something from maybe an aquarium or a natural history museum. They might have, like, oh, excuse me, I remember when I was younger and went to the Boston Museum of Science, they had surgical instruments, and you got to practice doing like orthoscopic surgery or something using a camera, and you couldn't actually see your arms, but you had to look through the camera to be able to do it. Which was
Oh yeah, the
similar.
Da Vinci robot, right.
So I could imagine something like that would be for an ROV, and if not, aquariums, get on that.
Or someone here, or someone out there in the audience, create a game like that. That'd be awesome. They have their little joystick and try to maneuver. They're explorers. Something constructive instead of those destructive games.
Not even for kids. Get one for everyone. I
I was
want to
going to
play
say,
that.
it sounds cool. I'll play it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know how they have the flight ones, right?
Oh, like a flight simulator.
Exactly. Like they have those for kids used to buy those.
Yeah, I actually think There is software out there. I don't know if Trevor knows anything about this, but like oil and gas industries, I think they have ROV simulators.
They do, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Train you up on all the controls before you get out in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make that a public thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.